afternoon. Once again, I'm Bob Marone along with Joe Logano, and we are Westchester Talk Radio. We're here for Westchester Talk Radio, and we're here at the third annual Honickman Company's Golf Invitational. And once again, we're at the Knollwood Country Club here in Elmsford, New York. We're produced this afternoon by Shaw Creative and made possible by Hightower Westchester and Robeson. Now, we remind you, this event is done for the benefit of Volunteers of America Greater New York, and they help end homelessness, or try to as best they can, in the Greater New York area. And our next guest is one of, I guess we shouldn't just say a celebrity because he's a very accomplished athlete, obviously. You know him from the New York Knicks, but he also played for several other teams. Please welcome Charles Smith. Now, he wouldn't tell us how he shot today on the golf course, but he did say he made some shots he never made before. So I almost wasn't going to do the interview if he didn't play well, but I think he did. Good afternoon, and thank you for being on Westchester Talk Radio.
It's a pleasure to be on Westchester Talk Radio. How are you?
Very well. Now, how did you shoot? Do you want to give us a number, or are you going to let that slide?
You know, it's hard to give a number when you're playing a scramble, so for those of the people in the audience who don't know a scramble, what you're doing is you're playing the best ball every time your team hits. So the best thing to say is that they probably use my ball a good 35% of the time. So I had a good day.
Okay, well, I'm satisfied with that. Besides, you're taller than I am, so I'm going to be satisfied with anything you tell me. Anyway, of course, people are going to be interested, and we'll talk a little bit about why you would help out an organization like this. That comes from the heart. But a little bit about you. How many years total in the NBA?
I played 10 years.
10 years. That's a nice, solid career, 10 years. I think the average is like 4.5 years or something like that.
Yeah, you're absolutely. How do you know that? It's like 4 points.
I'm a sport nut. I've been on the planet a while.
You're right on point. A little over 4 years.
Yeah, but so 10 years is a nice, solid career. Now, a question I love to ask people that make it in any, it could be music, could be acting, architect, a musician. At what point, as you're growing up, do you say, hey, I'm really good at this. I'm like extra good. I actually may be able to make a career of this.
That turning point happened for me my junior year of college.
That's a little late, actually.
Because, and it's true. So when I'm the type of person where I never go too far ahead, I try to stay within realm of reality. All right. So going through high school, I knew I was the top 5 players coming out of high school.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to Bridgeport, Connecticut, at Warren Harding High School. Sidebar, we were 3 in the country and number 4.
Okay.
And we had a good time there. Shout out to all my high school buddies. But so that turning point, I just wanted to stay within the realm of reality. So I just wanted to graduate from college. I did nothing else but focus on graduating from college in 4 years. Did that, played on the Olympic team, played on the World Games team. After the World Games team, when I led our country in scoring and we won the gold, and I came back to college my senior year, that's when I started thinking, I might be able to play in the NBA. And my thoughts started going into the direction of the NBA.
Well, that makes sense. Now, I had been meaning to ask you, and you mentioned it. So, folks, he already told you he won Olympic gold. What in God's name was that like?
So I was the last team to play for the USA in college
before the NBA came.
Yeah, and then I was on the World Games team, and then I played on the last team in college in '88 before the players came in '92. NBA players came in '92, but the experience was priceless and valuable. When I started traveling in college, I began to understand that you learn more about yourself when you travel around the world than you learn about other cultures. And now at the ripe age I am now in my 50-somethings,
It was a problem with the mic. Could you fix that, engineer? That's a good age.
So, you end up understanding that you can have a great time in this beautiful world that we have. You can go, I don't care if you go to Russia, I've been to North Korea, as long as you follow the rules and the regulations of the country, you won't have a problem and you enjoy yourself.
I can't let you, I have to stop you right there because very few people you and I will know in our lifetime have been to North Korea. What was that like?
It was an experience of a lifetime. First of all, there are Americans that go in and out of North Korea on a daily basis.
Business?
Pleasure, travel, vacation.
Really?
Oh, absolutely.
How they do that?
Just get a flight and go to North Korea. It's that simple. It's just that our government will tell you not to go to North Korea because if you get in trouble, they can't help you because we don't have an embassy there. But however, they have water parks. They have, different theme parks and amusement parks and a lot of the things that we have. It's just a different culture. And a lot of times what we don't know, we fear, or what we don't know, we may talk negatively about. And the places that I've been all over the world, and Indonesia, and like I said, North Korea, I've been to South Korea, different places around the world. I've been in Kaohsiung, Taiwan. And I just can say that, it's a beautiful world. People are beautiful. Everybody wants to get ahead, but it's how it's articulated is different.
Yes, sir.
But everybody wants their families to do well. They want to do well, and it's just, how does that happen? That's where it kind of gets muddled. But, when people are have a heart to help others and they really, truly want to help others, they have such an impact that extends beyond the people that you're helping.
We're talking with former NBA star Charles Smith. Now, a little more about basketball, and then we'll go into your presence here today. Again, 10 years in the NBA is a long time. Now, you played center, and you did didn't you play some guard, not guard, power forward as well? Small forward, please.
With the Clippers, I was power forward and center. I came to New York, I played small forward, power forward, and center. And then when I went to San Antonio, I played back to power forward and center.
It's interesting. I was involved. I was a midget basketball player, so I wound up being a practice player and manager and all that. But we had a great ball player, played out of position, never made it to the NBA. He was a better than Dean Memminger, who, if you remember, was a guard. His name was Gene Mumford, but he could leap so well that he was a 6'4" center. So when he made it to college, but there was no way for him to play in the NBA. He wasn't a quick guy, you know what I mean?
Right.
So if you had a choice, having said that, would you be a center or a power forward?
I would have remained my whole career at power forward because that's where I had the biggest advantage. I can always handle the ball very well. And then when I'm playing, I can use my size at power forward. I was 265 when I was playing for the Clippers. So I was able to use my size and bang and match up with guys who are power forwards. But then I can dribble very well and get around them. I can run the floor very fast and very well. So that power forward position, I averaged 20 and 21 back to back with the Clippers.
I know.
So that was an advantage I had. When I came to New York and I ended up playing small forward, it was an advantage only when I got the ball. Because a lot of times I was the third and fourth option, which was fine. Still, average double figures and had a good career here. But it was different. It was different. I had to lose weight. I went from, when I came at 265, Riley wanted me to come down to 235. So during the preseason, I rode the bike a lot and lost a lot of weight, a lot of muscle mass, and played small forward and started running around guarding 6'6" small forwards and 6'7" small forwards. So that was interesting.
I know I'm being selfish here keeping you because it's very interesting, but I do have to ask you about this. I've got some friends that I played hockey with who play in the NHL, and a couple of buddies of mine from high school. Armand Hill went to the NBA. But it's the grind. How do you keep yourself? Every couple of days, you're up and down the floor again. How do you stay from hydrated, enough food, enough energy, and rest? How do you handle that grind? And what's it like by the end of the season?
Well, it's you learn as you go along when you come into the league about nutrition and taking care of yourself. A lot of guys nowadays, they learn about it, but they're really taught because now every practice facility, you come in before practice and you have breakfast. So they're feeding you healthy. So you're getting to see what you need to eat. After practice is over, you can go back to the cafeteria, the kitchen, and you can grab lunch before you go home. So you're learning along the way about nutrition and health. You cannot, nowadays, you can't eat McDonald's, and some guys still do it, but you can't eat all the stuff that's going to clog up your arteries and the pores because the game is so intense and so quick now. Your body's like a fine-tuned race car, and if you don't give it the right gas and oil and it's tuned up right, it's not going to function at its maximum output. When I watch Giannis from Milwaukee play at 6'11", 7 feet, and he's playing on both ends of the floor, and he's bringing the ball up, he's scoring, he's setting screens, he's playing defense, he's blocking shots, he's rebounding. He's playing on both ends at that size.
I know.
I haven't seen that before until I saw him do it. So he kind of changed the game. And trust me, there are other Giannis's coming into the league within the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, well, I've seen likewise. The sport of hockey now has all these people coming in that are like they're like acrobats. They're trained differently. They practice differently. All right. The last question, obviously, is do you miss it? With a caveat, what do you do now?
What I do now, I've always been in technology. So people don't know that when I left the game, I was the first to develop a portfolio of patents that I developed and owned for customizable applications for video ingestion. So I did that in the 90s when I retired. I went right into technology. I licensed that software out today to companies. I've always been in tech. So
that's amazing. From the NBA to geekdom. This is great.
Well, I was in geekdom while I was in the NBA, but nobody really knew that. So I was always into software and tech. But I've always been in it since I finished playing. So now I'm living my dream, starting a fund to invest in women and technology businesses for women and people of color, because in the industry now, women and people of color, when it comes to tech businesses in early stage, the returns and the multiples are just staggering. So a lot of the VCs are investing in this category, in this group, and they're making a lot of money and the returns are great. So I've always known that, but I'm in that space.
Charles Smith, what a pleasure. Now, before you go, I promised my last question, but what brings you here? I mean, I can tell for what you're doing for women and people of color that you care about these things. Why do you want to help this organization?
Well, I don't do these events much. I may do some for the Knicks, but this is a charity and a business that I love. I love to be around the people here. When I know Volunteers of America intimately. They have a 126-year history of working and helping homeless people, providing needs and services, unlike any other organization in New York. And they have a goal. They want to end homelessness in the New York area by 2050. And they provide all these services, 30,000 people last year. I mean, their numbers are staggering. And still today, a lot of people don't understand or know who Volunteers of America is. And because of their mission and their diligence to completing the results and goals and their objectives every single year, they're like an athlete. You set out for the goal that you want to complete something and you make it happen. So they do it. Their results are there. I love to be around. I'm results oriented. So if I'm going to be around and spend my time with people, Hanneken, and Reginald, who sits on the board of Volunteers of America, it's a great group, business and charity, and I love to be a part of it.
Well, they're lucky to have you as a part of it. And I want to thank you, Charles Smith, former Knick, former NBA player, current technology businessman, and also has invented a new way to say his age called and thank you so very, very much. It's been great. Thanks a lot.
These days, anybody could Google it anyway.
Take care. Charles Smith, everybody. We'll be right back.